Well, it's the middle of the month, and this is when I normally do one of these little talks that's led by the tarot, so this is it. Those of you who've heard them before will know that it's not necessarily time-bound, so whenever you hear it, whenever you come across it, it's relevant. How long does it last? Well, maybe a month, maybe longer, I don't know. It really isn't time-bound. And it's for all of you, it's not for a specific sign. I'm talking really about humanity. So if it's a message that you get something from, then wonderful. Now, it would be very easy to get depressed by this spread. And indeed, I'm sure that some of you are feeling more than a little depressed right now. And we'll talk about why in a minute. But it is a reading, yet again, of great hope. A reading that wonderful things are just around the corner. And I know you're saying to me, hey, you've been saying that a long time, Java, when's it happening? And I've even done past readings on why isn't it happening yet, But it is coming. It is coming. There is great hope. The seeds of all this are in the past. And it's the past influencing the current that's a part of the problem. There's an awful lot of conflict in the world, and I'm sure that you're well aware of it. And I'm not just talking about global conflicts. I'm sure that in your everyday life you're finding more and more arguments. Everything has become that little bit more difficult. It's difficult even to buy anything these days, Difficult to do the most simplest of things. Everything seems to be problematic and argumentative, and I'm going to explain to you why that is, but we've also got more deception. Deception is continuing. In part, those who deceived are refusing to hold their hands up, aren't they? And of course, when you tell a lie, you have to keep telling lies to save your neck, and ultimately it's just a quagmire of lies. And I don't know how many of you feel like this, but that's certainly what I feel the world is like at this moment in time. We are being urged to be temperate. We're being urged to take the middle ground, forgive those who are behaving like this, try and understand them. I think also be more temperate in our lifestyle, to abandon hedonism, because it's not a solution to what's going on, and try and take care of ourselves and our loved ones a little bit better. For many of us, we've sort of seen things like this before. I think these are pretty dramatic times, but if we look back, we probably have been through periods a little bit like this in the past, and we've got through them, and I think that's where we can take succour from. But there is more destruction, there are more endings coming about. They're necessary, and I think they're necessary, not least because all of us have got the wrong end of the stick. All of our beliefs need to change, and they're going to be forced to change, whether we like that or not, unfortunately. Now, what this spread is all about is change. And you're probably shouting out, there's been so much change, Java, can't you give us a break? Well, this is what the cards are. This is from the universe, not from me, my friends. Yeah, there's been a lot of change, but there's much more to come. Much more to come. We're slipping from one paradigm to another paradigm, and, it's bound to be difficult. But these things always come with a degree of luck. The change is for the better, I promise you. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it is definitely for the better, and we have to be resolute, we have to keep faith. You know, if we can keep hold of the idea that things are going to improve for the better, then they will. However difficult that may feel, and I know it feels very difficult. It can feel very bleak. You know, I'm not going to go in. I probably need to do not a reading, but a vlog all about this. But I'm going through my own massive turmoils at the moment, and you know, I know that the way through it is not to get angry and not to get depressed, but to look on the bright side and to keep looking on the bright side. And I have to keep reiterating this to myself and playing it out, because if I don't, it would be so easy to slip into pessimism. And so I think there is that warning in this reading, very much so. But we do all need to keep faith. Now, the seeds of what's going on are in the past. This card is suggesting it's quite a distant past. That whatever has happened has been known about. I nearly use the word planned, and I don't want to sound like a sea theorist, but it has been known about for a long time. Or at least, you know, parts of it have been known about for a long time and planned. And yes, the health crisis, you know, was... I can lay a lot at the feet of the health crisis. You know, children were taken out of school in Indonesia for extensive periods. My niece. My niece was didn't attend school for 3 years, like the rest of us. Well, like everybody else, 3 years. And it went online, and they didn't have the internet, so she didn't get any schooling for 3 years, you know. Okay, she's got a job in a salon now and does people's nails and is very good at it, you know. She doesn't earn enough money, but, you know. But the destruction that's caused to people's education is unbelievable. And you look at the destruction of economies, you know, and you say, no, this isn't what I was brought up to believe is right. Now, of course, during that time, the rich got richer and the poor got poorer, and maybe that was the simple reason for it. But in doing so, everything I've been brought up to believe in has been destroyed, and I think a good many of us are seeing it that way. So yeah, all these problems that we see now, they probably go back much further than the health crisis, but we can certainly see a direct link to the response to the health crisis. And everywhere we look, there's conflict. Both at the sort of macro level, you know, wars, proxy wars, what have you. Everywhere. Just everywhere. But I think even go down to the micro level. People are angry for no reason with each other. Everybody's angry now. Here in Jakarta, I can feel that people are angry with me simply because I'm a Westerner. Don't know anything about me. Make a whole pile of assumptions about me. And they're angry with me for things I don't believe and haven't done. You know, I engage on, you know, on this platform. You know, I'm a Muslim. You know, and I engage on this platform, and people assume that I have totally repugnant views because I'm a Muslim, and they want to shout abuse me for holding views that I don't actually have, And then, sort of going up a level, why has it become so difficult to do anything these days? Now, I'm not going to go into it because, as I say, it's another story, but me trying to get hold of my pensions. Just like a few years ago, me trying to get hold of a passport. Everything has become impossible, hasn't it? We sort of... Businesses and government, they went over to a call centre technology. What they did was they atomised every inquiry. So when you make an inquiry, it's never passed on. It's every time you make an inquiry, it's counted as a new one, and they don't learn. So there's no process, and it's assumed that every inquiry is going to be easy to deal with, but when it's not, there's no way you can get satisfaction, and now they're automating that, and businesses and governments have saved a lot of money, but the poor consumers, citizens, they're doing all the work and still not getting satisfaction, So no wonder we're all angry, very angry. Now that anger that I talked about, there's nothing necessarily that malicious in it, When I talk about service providers and businesses, and they've used the call centre sort of logic to automate things and reduce staff, I don't think it's malicious. They think they're being terribly efficient. The fact that nobody's satisfied anymore is beyond them, because they've saved a lot of money. So that isn't necessarily malicious, but there is something malicious here, long term, and that is there's been deception going on. And again, I think it's deception at all levels, at the macro level. I mean, well, this video would get demonetized if I talked about deception regarding the international conflicts, but I'm sure most of us can see through them, or at least see some of it. Then going down to the micro level, people seem to be so willing to deceive others, seeing it as a tremendous thing to do, to pull the wool over another's eyes. As I say, I'm a Muslim, and this platform is just full of both Muslims and Christians being deceptive to each other, thinking, oh, I've scored one over on them, as though religion is like supporting a football team, And then businesses, they've not been honest, have they? They've not been honest, As I'm saying, I don't think that employing AI and call centre technology was really purposely to make it more difficult for us to do anything. But that's the upshot, and they're not being honest about it. They must know it. And of course they can blame it on AI, because they can say, oh, well, it's not us who's taking the decisions. Well, if you're a board member, that's what you're paid for. You're not paid to have a black box and say that's taking the decisions. Nothing we can do about it. That's not a board member. That's a job's worth, So no, people are being manipulative. People are at fault, and we need to recognise it. And you can tell, I've just raised my voice, it's annoying for all of us, it's frustrating. And of course that leads back to why is there so much conflict? There's so much conflict because we're all so damn frustrated, None of us have any job satisfaction. None of us have any personal satisfaction. You know, we're just given more and more of this limbic capitalism to get us addicted to the trivial and mundane, and hope that that will keep us happy. And we're not really happy at all, are we? We're seething inside, and you're not going to like this. The universe is saying you've got to keep a hold on that. You've got to keep a hold on that. You've got to be positive. You've got to even forgive. You've certainly got to be understanding. And, you know, you've got to stop. And, you know, I've just done this as well, you know. Stop going out and getting drunk, and stop smoking, stop abusing your body. And do you know the way I do it? I don't know if... I don't think many people are as bad as me. But I have to sort of go over the top and make myself ill before I'll actually have a change. And I've done it, you know. I went out the other night and I woke up at 5 or something in the morning and was sick, you know. My poor wife had to clean it up, and I realised what a disgusting pessimism I was, you know. And you know, you might be thinking, why? What's a Muslim doing, getting drunk? And you know, you'd be right, but that's a longer story. But you know, no, I have to take it to the limit before I sort of accept the change. And we need to accept this change. We need to accept this change. We need to be more tolerant. We need to be more temperate. We need to be more understanding. And if we can do all those things, we can create a better world. And you might be saying, why is it still so difficult? Why is it still so... You keep saying, Java, that better times are ahead, but, you know, we're not feeling it. And worse, you know, each reading you do, it still talks about things being difficult and more change and what have you. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. You know, this is a test of our faith, if you like. You can see it as coming from God or Allah, you know, whatever, but it's a test of our faith. It's a test of our resilience, and really that's what this reading is all about. That we have to keep a hold on there can be a better world, there can be a better life. Keep a hold on the idea that love conquers all, and through love we will get through it. Some of us are old enough to sort of at least see elements of this in our past and realise we got through hard times before, and think about how we got through them. I don't mean exact actions, but tapping into those feelings which are undoubtedly to do with love, to do with keeping ourselves sort of hopeful, happy, responsive, you know. We have to tap into all of that to get through what we're going to experience. Now, if we can't do that, the universe will do it for us. But if we can find this resilience, this determination, then so much the better. Now, I've just said that if we can't find that resilience, the universe will do it for us. What do I mean? Well, you know, clearly our thinking doesn't match the new paradigm. Remember, this is all about change, and more change is coming. And the universe is trying to get us ready for this change. But if we're not ready for it, it'll bring about an end to things that will force us to change our thinking. And yeah, you know, it's a tower, yeah. Well, we keep getting these towers, don't we? And you might be saying, oh my God, not another tower. But you know, they're there for a purpose. They're there because of our thinking is wrong. Our thinking is wrong. And you know, while we're going, and you know, this comes back to this conflict, while we're going around blaming everybody else, it's not getting us anywhere. As I say, the other night I drank too much and I was ill. My poor wife cleared it up, and the next day I explained to her that near the end of the evening she told me to drink up, come on, let's go, And I said to her that whenever I drink too quickly at the end, I'm ill. And she said, oh, so you're blaming me, are you? I said, no, I'm not blaming you. I'm old enough to know that I should either just leave the beer or say to you, no, I'll come when I've finished it, not rush it, We all have to take some responsibility, don't we? We all have to take some responsibility and, yeah, we're blaming others, we're blaming everything, but we ourselves are all a part of this, and that's what we need to understand, and the change needs to come from within ourselves. No good blaming other people for everything that's wrong in the world, is it? Like me blaming my poor wife who's on her knees cleaning up my sick, it's me who's been sick. Yeah.